So recently I've been playing Honkai Impact, a game that piqued my interest cause online I would always read how Honkai is a great game, how it has an interesting story, fun combat and most importantly, some top tier waifus. For those unaware, Honkai Impact 3rd is a free-to-play hack-and-slash RPG game that also has gacha elements in it. It is made and published by MiHoYo, that's right, the same company that made Genshin Impact, that small little game that took over the world and pretty much said, welcome to gacha motherfuckers, it is time to swipe your credit card if you want to play with your pixel waifus. But anyways, let's get back on track. First time getting into the game, you will be bombarded with pop-ups. Click here, click that. There will be multiple different stores that you will see. Multiple different events going on at the same time. And if you are new to the gacha genre or just mobile games like me, it will definitely be a little overwhelming. But worry not, cause with any new game today you start with a tutorial, slowly navigating you and teaching you stuff. Or you can just go to YouTube and find a more advanced beginner tutorial for the game, as all people do nowadays. Also, one thing I have to give respect to is that Honkai has a very clean UI compared to a lot of other mobile games that I've seen. It's not clustered and after some time it's really easy to find your way around. I also like how clean the UI is when you are actually playing the game. It's not getting in the way of your gameplay or the combat. So credit where credit is due. Now, let's first talk about the story, cause Honkai Impact indeed has a story. It is something you will constantly hear from other people that also play or played the game, how the story and the lore are just so amazing, and to that I would say that those people stand correct. Honkai Impact story has been going on for almost 8 years now, and it's still going strong with over 30 different chapters, constantly getting new updates and new chapters added to it, to what I would call now is a never-ending story. Personally, I've been playing it for over a month now and I've been having a blast. And I'm only halfway there. As of making this video right now, I think I'm on chapter 20 or something like that. But yeah, it's been a really fun ride. When you first start the story, the first few chapters will feel like a slow burn. But that quickly fades away once you get to chapter 4 and 5 and beyond. I will say that the story sometimes has its flaws, but when it gets good, it gets really fucking good. They also animate some of the key fights in the story that you play and are some of the best looking scenes I've seen for a mobile game so far. I would also say that the animation alone sometimes puts even bigger games to shame, and that says a lot. Most of the story is also fully voice acted in both Japanese and Chinese, so if you are a weeb like me, you will appreciate that shit. Also, if you want to get deeper into the story, there are plenty of manga chapters that are published that give extra lore bits and glue the story further together. So if you are into that, I would recommend reading at least some of them. One last big thing when it comes to story that I also want to mention and that I really liked while playing and progressing through the story missions is that you are giving new characters that you don't even have unlocked, so that you can play as them in those certain story missions. So even though you don't have that certain character, you can at least try them out and have fun playing in those certain story chapters. It is definitely a big plus for me, since the game is not forcing you to pay and acquire those certain characters to progress through the story, but you are giving a new shiny character to try out and play the story with. You can play the game on mobile and PC. The PC client is really well optimized and it was my preferred choice of play. You can also get it on Steam or just use their own PC client. The PC client has integrated controller support that I really liked, and I would highly recommend using a controller, since it makes the gameplay so much more enjoyable. I tried playing it on the keyboard and mouse and all I can say is that it was not that good. I didn't have that much fun. It was not that responsive when it comes to controlling your character. But yeah, if you have a controller, I would definitely recommend using a controller. For a game that was mainly made to be a mobile game, the graphics in this game are actually pretty decent and polished. It is something that I was actually blown away with when I first started playing. Cause let's be honest, it's a 2016 mobile game and it's looking this good and also being responsive. And personally, in my book, that's a big plus when it comes to games like these. Oh yeah, and the characters look amazing thanks to their detailed designs and specifics, how do I say, physics that the developers put into the game. They definitely know what they were doing and they definitely know their audience. Even the enemies you encounter are brimming with details and effects in certain fights. Now, when you first start playing the game, you will notice that the combat system is pretty simple. It is mainly just evading and smashing one button. You can perform different combos which depend on how you are smashing that one button or how you are holding it. But in the end, combat is really fun, since it's a blend of action RPG and hack and slash. It's really flashy and stylized, especially once you unlock the newer released, shinier characters. But yeah, with older characters you can feel that the combat is deliberately being slower and more bland, since those are characters that released years ago. But with the new ones you can see how the combat of the game evolved over the years, how everything became way faster, everything has more depth to it, everyone has more combo attacks, and it just oozes with more effects and style. Let me tell you the truth, there are a shit ton of characters in this game. And each and every individual one has a different playstyle to them. Some are more support, some are more damage oriented, and some are just straight up addicting to use. When it comes to the different stuff you can do, there are also multiple of different modes you can choose to play. When you don't want to do the story, of course. There are Chronicles, which are replayable past events. There are co-op raids, which are 3-man PvE stuff. Semi-open world game mode, where you progress through the story and complete small tasks and quests each week. Think of something with Yakuza but with waifus. There are challenge modes like bosses, hordes, extra hard difficulties. There are a post-Honkai Odyssey, it's a time skip event where you also go around in a semi-open world and complete quests. There is also Elysian Realm, which is something like a roguelite dungeon where you get constant upgrades from each stage and you progress through it until you hit the last boss. And there is just different events that are going on all the time which you can partake in. Different minigames, puzzles, missions for specific events. All in all, what I'm saying is that there are a shit ton of stuff to do if you want to partake in those in-game activities. And you will not get bored, since there is always something to do in Honkai Impact. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. You will also hear people say that PvP is a big part of the endgame. But it is not a direct PvP mode as some people would think it is. It is pretty simple. Each week you enter and progress through this, let's say, and call it Abyss Dungeon, and see how much you can push with your theme of build characters for a bigger and a bigger high score. And then everyone is awarded with crystals for their effort. That is pretty much the PvP aspect people will refer to. All in all, you are battling in a PvE mode to see who can get a bigger high score. And yeah, whales and veterans will always prevail, since they are the ones that have stacked characters and stacked themes. But in the end, you don't need to worry about that, cause you won't face those players until way later, until you put a lot of hours and time into the game. Cause it will take you a long time to level and get to those players. You will face other players on your level. So don't worry about that at all. I just wanted to clarify and explain what it is. I definitely can't talk about Honkai Impact without mentioning its banger music. My god, is the music in this game good. Good is not even a good word to describe it. It is straight up a certified banger, if I say so myself. I still don't know how these mobile games have these insanely good musical scores that put even AAA games to shame. Trust me, if you are a fan of music in games, original soundtracks in general, after trying Honkai Impact for a while, you will definitely add a few of its tracks to your own playlist. As someone that consumes way too much music on a daily basis, I can definitely guarantee that. One topic that I also want to mention and go over with is the ever-revolving question in gacha games. And it will always be the same. Is it free-to-play friendly? The game can be played free-to-play without any problems. Of course, it will take time before you can keep up with the veterans, as with any gacha game that has been out for as long as this one. But as I mentioned earlier, you won't be bracketed with those veterans until later into the game, and that's a really long time. When it comes to the daily stamina, the resource you need to play missions, or if you ever played Genshin Impact, you will call it resin. In this game, it's not a big issue at all. Since you accumulate it really fast, you constantly get items for stamina, and even if your stamina hits cap, you can upgrade your home base to store extra stamina that piles on and on. So even when you hit the cap, you have stacks and stacks of extra stamina at all times. While playing this game for the past month or two, I have never run out of stamina, and I have a bazillion items for stamina. You are constantly getting showered by them, so the problem is just not there in Honkai Impact. On another topic, when you start, crystals are also not a problem, since you will be showered with them like you just opened an OnlyFans account. Be it by playing the story, completing different events, or just following the new player guidebook that constantly gives you free characters, free items, equipment, and a bunch of crystals. I personally haven't spent a single dollar on this game, and I can say that it is really generous when it comes to premium currency. Now, the ugly truth is that it is a gacha game, and the gap between whales and old veterans that been playing for years versus you as a new player is big, and will always be big. But sometimes free-to-play players can overcome this gap if they decide to stick with the game and constantly play it, and grind it out. But if you are like me, someone who just doesn't care how much other people spend or what they have, it won't be a problem for you whatsoever. All in all, to me, Honkai Impact never felt like a pay-to-win game, since you can earn so many premium items by just doing stuff, by just playing the game and participating in different events. And that is something that I really appreciate. So, the question still remains, is Honkai Impact any good? Overall, Honkai Impact to me is a very fun interactive game with tons of variety in its game modes. Great characters, waifus with good plots, great action gameplay that is really stylish and full of color, and overall a really fun time. If you are looking for something to play on the go, or if you are looking for something to put tons of hours in, I think Honkai Impact could be that game for you. There is nothing to lose if you play it for a day or two, a few weeks, maybe you stick with it cause it's just what you've been looking for. Honkai Impact to me is a game at least worth trying. I personally did it and it took me by surprise, and that's why I made this video. Anyways, if you try it out or you already play Honkai Impact, tell me how it goes. And yeah, this has been Smug, thank you for watching and see you guys next time.